A new concept is popping up in our programs and likely will more and more as we cement the phrase ground to standing, or step to standing, or lie to standing, etc. It first appeared officially, using the term that is, in group active. But ground to standing is a concept that has existed in our programs for ages, like any time we've done a burpee or any time we get to a standing position from down dog in Synergy. But now we feel more compelled than ever to treat it as an essential component of any fitness, health, wellness protocol. We see it as our responsibility to ensure that people can get themselves up from the floor or from seated for the rest of their life. Why are we so passionate about the idea of ground to standing? Let me share with you some sound bites from a research study published in the European Journal of Cardiology. The study, by Brazilian physician Claudio Gil Araújo, asked individuals to sit, stand and repeat, a deceptively simple measure of flexibility and strength, which he found can help predict who will live longer and whose lives will be cut short. Dr. Araújo used the test with athletes, but also to lay out the stakes with patients. He had noticed long ago that many of them, particularly older people, had trouble with ordinary motions, such as bending down to pick up something off the floor, indicative of a loss of flexibility. He knew that this, along with a loss of muscle power and balance, would greatly increase the risk of falling. To live longer, they must get moving and maintain muscle and balance. The researchers followed over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80 for an average of 6+ years. At the outset, each study volunteer was asked to sit down on the floor and then get up using the least amount of support from hands, knees, and other body parts. The volunteers could score 5 points if they could sit down without touching their knees, legs, hands or arms on the floor, and another 5 points if they could get back up unaided. They lost a point for each body part that was leaned on while getting down or up. So people who could get down touching the floor with just one knee scored 4 points. If they needed to touch a hand and a knee on the floor as they were rising, they would lose 2 points for a score of 3. If the volunteers looked wobbly on the way down or up, they lost half a point. The most agile ended up with a combined score of 10, while those who couldn't get up or down were scoring a 0. He determined that people who scored fewer than 8 points on the test were twice as likely to die within the next 6 years, compared with those who scored higher. Those who scored 3 or fewer points were more than 5 times as likely to die within the same period, compared with those who scored more than 8 points. Overall, each point increase in the score was associated with a 21% decrease in mortality from all causes. Now you know why we consider ground to standing an important part of training. How will you see it in action? Well, for one, we never shy away from getting to the ground in almost all of the programs, except Ride and R30 for obvious reasons. But the simple act of getting down to the ground and having to get back up is good for us. It could be to change position for bodyweight training like push-ups and burpees, but it could also be in the transitional movements like salutations in group synergy. Sometimes we will be more overt about the specific function of the training, like in group active, where we've dedicated focused, intentional time to simply practice sit-to-stand activities. Sometimes it might be part of a more advanced sequence, like an interpretation of the Turkish get-up found in group core. Our objective is simple: to improve an individual's ability to move through space. Collectively, we all have to be careful to not just meet people where they are, but look to improving their current reality. Too often we hear, I can't do a push-up, I can't get up, I can't bear weight through my wrists, I can't squat. We now understand that the deterioration of these skills is slowly but surely connected to a decrease in quality of life and lower levels of independence. It is our hope that our collective response to these issues will one day become, well, best we get to the point that we can do that, let's start practicing.